Hey there, welcome to my podcast. My name is Gina Govaz. I'm your host. Thank you for being here. Today is June 7, 2025, and this is episode number 7. So, my last recording was in April. Wow, we were just out of eclipse season during that time, and here we are already in the first week of June. Today, I'm going to talk about Jupiter's transit through Cancer. Jupiter has been in Gemini for the last 12 months. So, think back to May 2024 as Jupiter entered Gemini for the last year. What house in your chart did that activate? And how does that lead into the next sign and the next house in your chart? Jupiter will be entering Cancer on June 9th, where it will stay there until July 30th, 2026. So, planets in the birth chart represent a basic psychological function that is common to everyone. And under Turning of the Ages Mystery Schools paradigm, which I am a student and practitioner of, Jupiter provides clues to the kinds of activities that support our liberation and expansion in our search for meaning and truth. So, Jupiter is spiritual by nature, and it is our impulse for expansion, for growth, for faith and freedom. It resonates with the sign of Sagittarius. Every sign has a planet that it resonates with. And in the sign of Sagittarius, a mutable fire sign, it is expressive, expansive, and optimistic. We can further understand Jupiter's nature by looking at the signs before and after Sagittarius. This just helps us understand a little bit deeper how this energy is expressed. So the sign before Sagittarius is Scorpio. It is a fixed water sign. And this is where we meet our universal psychological need for deep involvement and deep transformation. So we dive into the depths of the psyche and the feeling realm. We merge with another. We lose a sense of separateness and individuality. And we undergo this process of death, rebirth, and transformation. And we take these deeper understandings and then we rise through the fire of Sagittarius, which is the first transpersonal sign. So we explore our connection to a larger reality and a larger social structure, and we expand our mental and our actual horizons towards a universal truth. And after that, we enter the 10th stage, the next sign of our evolution, which is Capricorn. So we take all that we've understood through Sagittarius, and we meet our universal psychological need to form structure and organization and discipline. So this is where we create the foundations and structures that will help us protect the integrity of society. So essentially, Jupiter amplifies and makes things bigger. And this expansive nature is what directs us back to just identifying with the universe at large. Now, we all have the sign of Cancer somewhere in the birth chart by house, and the house represents an area of life. So each one has specific themes and topics. So, for example, if Cancer is in your eighth house connects us to other people's resources. So we would look at how we benefit from other people's resources. And that would be something that would be highlighted over the next year. Now, Cancer is our psychological need to give and receive emotional warmth and security. It's where we connect to the emotional realm, where we feel the feelings. It's our connection to our roots, our family, our history, our lineage, and our emotional bonds. And this is where we create new themes for home and family. So taking this all back to the example of the 8th house, these Cancerian themes would overlay the topics of the 8th house, which is the money that we receive from others or other people's assets or even couples money. And why this is couples money? Because in the house before, in the 7th house, we are connected to our main relationship, our main partnership. Now we take that relationship further through the 8th house, because this is where we bind with another, where we take things deeper, where we get further in the relationship. And this is why the 8th house connects us to debts and inheritance and taxes and death. And it doesn't necessarily mean only physical death. It can relate to a death of an identity, because the 8th house is also the deeper parts of our psyche, the subconscious and the unseen world. So how do we work with this transit? Any personal planets in the sign of Cancer will meet Jupiter by conjunction. And a conjunction is the tightest aspect where the energies kind of merge. So if your sun is in Cancer, you'll meet Jupiter by conjunction, and it will be the beginning of a new 12-month cycle of growth. So notice any shifts in your sense of expression, your energy, and your vitality. If your moon is in Cancer, your natal moon, themes that have to do with the moon will be highlighted. The moon connects us to our inner world, our emotional landscape. It's also our personal life, our home. It's even our body, nutrition, and digestion. If your natal Mercury is there, Mercury is the mind. It's how we think, how we communicate, how we listen. So themes related to broadening your horizon, supporting different points of view, or taking interest in something new that you may want to learn. This is a great time to do that. Venus in Cancer, all the Venusian themes will be highlighted, which sounds really juicy and delicious for relationships. With Mars there, with Mars we think action. So think of strength. Perhaps it's an opportunity to be more expressive, more assertive, or to take action, or even to be more active. Now with Saturn there, Saturn is experienced as growth through some kind of limitation. So it could even show up as a feeling of restlessness. As Jupiter expands, Saturn tries to limit in some way. So Jupiter's expansive nature may be experienced through growth through structure, or even breaking free from something that no longer serves our development. Now, if you were born with Jupiter in Cancer, you will experience a Jupiter return, which happens about every 11 to 12 years. So if you are a parent of a child who was born around 2013 or 2014, they will be experiencing their first Jupiter return, which is a new cycle of growth and progress. Now, as an example, I have Jupiter in Scorpio, and under the whole house system, it is in my first house. And the first house is the house of self and identity. It could even represent our physical body or even our home. So during my third Jupiter return, I had my second child, which expanded my life. Obviously, it changed my body, it changed my home, all those dynamics changed my identity. And you also consider the aspects to Jupiter that you have. I actually have Saturn opposite Jupiter in my chart. So while something was expanding, there was some kind of limitation that I experienced through that, whether it was through my time or my energy or my space or my resources. So it's also important to consider the aspects of Jupiter within your own natal chart, whether there's a square or an opposition. And we also consider the transiting aspects. We've had Jupiter squaring Saturn for a while, and now as Jupiter enters Capricorn, this will start to ease off a little bit. So it's a time to remain curious and open, as the energy may develop in subtle ways. Anytime Jupiter comes around, it doesn't necessarily mean a windfall, but just notice what opportunities are coming your way. What are the changes in your awareness that will help you become wiser and broaden your own understandings? And we want to remember, it's not necessarily to think of what we can get during this time, but what we can also generously put out into the world. And if there's something that you've been curious about but didn't have the courage to explore, now may be the time to do so. So it's also a time to create opportunities, and we also want to be careful not to overdo it or overextend ourselves. We know that Jupiter expands, and too much of a good thing sometimes can leave us feeling just overwhelmed and overexerted. So as we move through this transit, we just want to remember to stay open and curious. The energy may unfold really gradually. So take time to just notice what opportunities are showing up in your life and how your awareness is shifting to help you grow wiser and expand your understanding, while also remaining grounded and mindful not to stretch yourself too thin. As always, thank you for tuning in. I hope this has been helpful. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram. You can send me a message, drop me a comment. I always love to hear from you. Until next time, be well.